Hey, everybody, and welcome to Let's Talk Physical Media, which we are doing live now every single Wednesday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's what time it is right now. And it was a very busy news week in the world of physical media. Actually, kind of came out of nowhere. In the last couple of days, we started getting some crazy announcements, some things that I actually had to pre-order right away. But before we get into all the physical media talk, I think we have to talk a little bit about Robert Redford, who sadly passed away yesterday at the age of 89. We're all film fans here, so of course we all know about Robert Redford. Robert Redford, one of the all-time greats. I don't believe he ever won an Academy Award for acting, but he did win for I don't know if he won for director himself. I don't off the top of my head, but I do know that Ordinary People won Best Picture in 1980, which is a pretty good film. He doesn't appear in the movie, but he directed that movie. It's a good movie. It's not like one you can run back to. It's a heavy drama dealing with grief, but Donald Sutherland gives a great performance in that. But many people know Robert Redford for that Robert Redford charm. He always kind of seemed like a regular guy. Yesterday when he passed away, I had to throw on one of my personal favorites, 3 Days of the Condor, which, by the way, this 4K Blu-ray, amazing. I always forget how good that 4K Blu-ray is. What's up, John? What's up, William? I'm glad you can make it here, buddy. Thanks for coming to the live show, man. I appreciate that. But yeah, he sadly passed away at 89 is a full life. Like, that's not something like that's not a real tragedy, but it still hurts to hear somebody who you absolutely love. As far as their work goes, you don't love I didn't know Robert Redford personally, but I loved his work. Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, I rewatched earlier this year. Has one of the funniest moments in film history that I never hear brought up. Just when Paul Newman says, I've never shot anyone before, and Robert Redford just sits there, straight face, kind of like, hell of a time to tell me. Just waiting there. It's absolutely perfect. What's up, Ben Rondo? I'm glad you can make it here, buddy. I appreciate you showing up. Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews is here. What's going on, Pimp Daddy? Nothing much, player. Glad you can pop in here, man. I appreciate that. Mark's Movie Menu. What's up, buddy? Glad you can come in here as well. You guys, I'm sure, all loved Robert Redford. One of my favorite Robert Redford movies is also Sleepers, which is another one that has a great Kino Lorber 4K Blu-ray. I don't know how many people have ever seen Sleepers, but that's a great early 1990s thriller. And, he's the leader of that team. He's great in ensemble pieces because that cast is stacked. Dan Aykroyd, Sidney Poitier is in that movie. River Phoenix, not too long before he passed away. Just stat cast up and down, but he's still the standout performance in that movie, like he was in so many movies in the 70s. He did The Sting. I just said 3 Days of the Condor, but he was all over the place. Even late career Robert Redford popping up in the MCU for younger people like myself. And all you guys, I'm sure, who weren't around when these movies were coming out. He discovered them in the 90s or whatever, like I did. But to see Robert Redford still popping in a bunch of movies like in the MCU, just playing a great character as well. And obviously him being in The Winter Soldier is a throwback to those spy thrillers, those espionage thrillers like 3 Days of the Condor that he was in. That's why you get Robert Redford. So he bring him in as an homage for The Winter Soldier, which is one of the better MCU movies. But we're here today also to talk about physical media. And as we know, as MCU fans, not many great Disney MCU films on 4K Blu-ray, unfortunately. They always kind of gave them the shaft, especially when they're trying to sell Disney Plus. They would only put the IMAX ratio screens on Disney Plus, and you couldn't get them for physical media. I hate it when they do that. There's no reason to do that. There's no justification for it. Mark says the way we were and Jeremiah Johnson are my favorites. Jeremiah Johnson's an absolute classic. People probably today only know it for that meme. The nod in the head with the beard is from that movie, but the movie itself is phenomenal. I know that's a lot of people's favorite from Robert Redford. I'm in between. I used to say Sleepers a lot, but I think 3 Days of the Condor is my favorite of his now. That movie itself, I think, is perfect. It's not even just him. Max von Sydow has one of the best performances ever, and it's in such a small role, but it's a hitman with a code, and the way he explains being a hitman to Robert Redford at the very end, and how he'll eventually get him, and it basically makes it like it's nothing personal. It's my job, and it's like I almost can respect it, even though you're a cold-hearted bastard. At least you're explaining it and being honest with me. Max von Sydow, another one of the late great actors as well. Last week I watched Needful Things, and he plays the devil in that movie. He plays that voice, iconic. But Robert Redford had another iconic voice. But first bit of news to talk about today. we got this bad boy officially up on A24 site. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but I pre-ordered it myself personally from A24. I only grabbed a few pictures right before we went live because this was kind of late, but yeah, we're getting it finally. I think I've been talking about this on the channel for years now that this one might be coming to fork. I was going to wait for an A24 trilogy because these have been released internationally, but not here in the United States on 4K Blu-ray. And the rumor always was that they would come to 4K Blu-ray when A24 completed the trilogy. So Maxine came out last year, I believe last August, and it got a 4K standard release here in the United States, but we still hadn't had X and Pearl. So when we the rumor was always A24 is going to do this trilogy. It took a lot longer than we expected, but it's finally coming to 4K Blu-ray in October. So I went over to A24.com and I pre-ordered this along with Eddington, which is coming out the same day. Threw it on Shop Pay. I'll be paying $14 for the next year for these bad boys. I'll probably pay it off before then, but that was the way I can get around of paying any money today because October, like we've talked about here, very expensive on the wallet, and I didn't have the extra money to be spending another $150. So we'll take the $14 a month. Any new releases you excited about besides the X trilogy? Oh, plenty of them. The X trilogy, like I said, Eddington, that was one of my favorite movies of the year. So I was able to package those together. I can't wait to get those on 4K Blu-ray. I'll wait to get the set later on. I'm not a fan of Maxine. I think the trilogy ended with a thud. Unfortunately, Frank, I do kind of agree with you on that. Like most trilogies, the third one just can never live up to what the first two were. And like a lot of trilogies as well, the middle chapter, Pearl, is, in my opinion, the best movie of the entire trilogy. And that was my second favorite film of that year. I think on my list here on the channel, I had Pearl at number one, but since then, I think Babylon is the best film to come out that year. And yeah, I got my hopes up for Maxine. Maxine should be my favorite movie of all time. It's like everything I could ever want in a film. It takes place in the 1980s in Los Angeles, about making movies in Hollywood. I mean, it should have worked. That should have been a 10 out of 10. Unfortunately, it's more like a 7 to 8 out of 10 because there is a lot I like in that movie. It's paying homage to a lot of movies of the 1980s in like that similar genre, especially Body Double, directed by Brian De Palma. And a lot of Brian De Palma, but really Body Double in there. And I like how it's really playing with your ideas of the original, like with Pearl, like you get kind of the reverse monologue in Maxine. So there was a lot I liked in Maxine. It's just there was a lot that was also just way the fuck out there. Like I'm like, that's just a crazy decision to make. And I give him credit for trying it, but I do agree with Frank that unfortunately, yeah, Maxine is the worst in the trilogy, but X and Pearl are great. And who knows, maybe I'll like Maxine again this time around. I mean, it's still good. I still like it. Maya Goth is great, and I love Ty West. I like Maxine well enough. I think like the thing, it's in a great trilogy. It's a lot like The Dark Knight Rises. I actually like Maxine more than The Dark Knight Rises, but you get Batman Begins, which in my opinion is like a 10 out of 10 film. The Dark Knight's like a 9 out of 10, and then The Dark Knight Rises is like a 7, maybe a 6.5 out of 10. And it's just not as good. And like you want to see the rising action. Ideally you want the third and finale to be the best in the entire trilogy. But in the history of trilogies, how often does that really happen? For the most part, never. I off the top of my head, I guess some people will argue the original Star Wars trilogy because I know a lot of people think the third film's the best. Obviously, I'm an Empire guy. I know that's like the classic trope. Everyone's an Empire guy, but that's my favorite in that trilogy. And The Lord of the Rings, you can't watch just one of those films. You have to watch the entire trilogy. So it's really hard to say that like one film is better than the other. I think that's just the trilogy you have to watch as a whole as it is. But yeah, Maxine unfortunately does fall flat in comparison to X and Pearl. It's not a bad film. I will rewatch Maxine. It's not something that's permanently out of the rotation. I just don't think it's as good as X or Pearl. I mean, Pearl is a phenomenal film, and that's really still to me Maya Goth's best performance. She's great in X. She's great in Maxine. She's great in that David. What was the movie that came? It was a David Cronenberg film, right? A couple years ago that she did, or was it a Brian Cronenberg film? I think it might have been a Brian Cronenberg film. I can't remember the name of it, but she was great in that film as well. Like she's just our modern day scream queen. Like, and she's also a phenomenal actress at that. So Um, but obviously the other big news this week, like not to bury the lead on physical media because we did get plenty of it. What'd Frank say down here? Frank said, I can't wait for Jacob's Ladder on 4K. It's actually a first time watch for me. Really? Well, that was the other mistake I made yesterday. Let me see if I can find it right there. Jacob's Ladder on 4K from Lionsgate. Now we knew this was coming. Lionsgate Limited hinted at this a few weeks ago, or actually probably a few months ago. They had it on there like with the coming soon, looking exactly like this. We kind of saw a zoomed in version just on Tim Robinson's head right there. But Jacob's Ladder is one of my favorite horror movies from the early 1990s. I love this movie from the same director as Fatal Attraction, which is really funny. Just very different movies, but totally kind of similar. Also, a very beautiful looking movie. You watch it, it just totally feels like early 90s, 1990. Very dark movie. I love Jacob's Ladder. One of the most messed up endings and perfect endings to a film that you'll ever see. So yeah, when this got announced yesterday, I couldn't have pre-ordered this one fast enough. Another one I pre-ordered with Shop Pay because I actually had some money on there that I've been holding on to that. So I helped pay for that one. But I this was a day one. I must get this one. Absolutely love Jacob's Ladder. I'm ready for night 90. Night 90. Okay. We're getting so much coming out, guys. I mean, October's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie, as far as like getting everything. I there's no way to get it all, but I'm there's a lot of stuff that I want to get. And the other thing that we had in here, didn't we have Knock Knock over here, right? Knock Knock is coming from them as well, Lionsgate. And this one they announced also yesterday. I've never seen this movie, Higher in the House. This feels like something Frank might know, though. Obviously through Vestron. Vestron does do some pretty good releases as well. This is just a Blu-ray release. I don't think it's getting a 4K Blu-ray release. Knock Knock, like I said, this is the other Lionsgate limited release for October. It feels like, these Lionsgates, I don't know how you guys feel about them, but they're priced a little bit high, but for the most part, I feel like the quality of the disc and the packaging has matched up. I still haven't gotten everything that they've come out with that I want to get, but Jacob's Ladder is one of my favorite horror movies from that time, so I had to grab that day one 100%. Knock Knock, I'm probably not going to get, if I'm being honest. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Frank, I know you're excited about F1 since that's still your favorite movie of the year. And I'm excited too. The 4K Steelbook sold out on Groove like pretty much instantly. I think I saw the post online at, I don't know, 2 hours after someone put it up, and it was gone when I got on there. I was pretty disappointed on that. We all want to see the shower scene on 4K. Knock, knock. Yeah, listen, I'm fine with that. Going back to Body Double, there's some stuff in those movies on 4K that are just chef's kiss beauty that we're all looking forward to seeing. So yeah, I just don't know if I need to get the Lionsgate Limited Steelbook for that one. I did want this Steelbook. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like how this one looks. The gold. This is a color scheme that I always like. Gold, black, white, silver. It feels very classy if you ask me. And F1, I didn't love it as much as other people did when I saw it in theaters. I thought there was just like too much generic sports films kind of stuff in there, which really shouldn't have bothered me because like Days of Thunder is one of my favorite sports films of all time. And this very much is a Days of Thunder type of film. Like I could see this being a very similar plot to like Days of Thunder 2. Like I wouldn't be surprised. That's why people want the same director as F1 to go and direct Days of Thunder 2. What's his name? Joseph Kosinski. Am I getting that right? So because of the way he did Top Gun Maverick, this does feel like Top Gun Maverick on wheels. And people used to say about Tony Scott's Top Gun and Days of Thunder was just Top Gun on wheels, which is 100% true. There's nothing I can disagree with that statement. It's made by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer. They're the producers on it, directed by Tony Scott. It's just got those cocaine 80s feels to it. I love Days of Thunder, and I really liked F1. Maybe I'll like it more the second time around. It just felt a little bit like too much, like as far as the plot goes, like generic. But honestly, seeing it in theaters in IMAX, and which we're gonna get the IMAX enhanced scenes here, it was beautiful. Like I can't deny, like that's why I know it's gonna transfer very well to a 4K Blu-ray. And this is what I ended up getting, guys, the standard edition, which I'm hoping has a slipcover on it. WB just hates us when it comes to standard editions. This one like just really drives me nuts. Which I will own. Hi, John. I ordered an HMV Steelbook different from this one. Yeah, there is a 3 Steelbooks out there, right? I got to actually see if I could find the other Steelbooks, the F1 4K Steelbooks. Which one? So you got the HMV one, right? I wonder if I could find it right here. I'll look for it. But I let's see, 4K Steelbooks, because F1 did have 3 of them. And this is the one that Groove had right here. But there's another one, and maybe it's this one. We'll see. I'll put it in. I'll put it in here, and you guys can tell me if this is the ones that HMV had, because I know that there was a few other ones, and I'm not sure if these are official or not. So, anyway, I'll add them into the chat, and you guys can tell me. Maybe it's this one. I'm not sure, but that's a nice one as well. And F1, I mean, I think this probably piqued a lot of people's interest in F1, which is pretty cool. I know that I'm a NASCAR fan, not really a big F1 fan. Here's another one as well. Maybe it's that's the Blu-ray, the standard Blu-ray, which should look very nice as well. It's a modern film. I'm not too sure. That one, yeah, okay, that's a nice one. HMV does do those alternate steelbooks. They're doing the same thing with U571, right? They're getting their own version of a steelbook as well, whereas we have a different version of a 4K steelbook just in its United States release. Stress levels are high. Illuminated Pro. On what reason? I don't know why stress levels would be high, but anyway, we're here to relax. The one with Brad. Yeah, okay, that's perfect. That's a nice one. You're talking about the one that I just uploaded right here, this one right here, which I like very much. I would have been cool to get like one with him and Javier Bardem beside each other. Great movie. What's his name from Snowfall is in it as well. I was talking about him yesterday, actually, but he doesn't capture the screen like Brad Pitt does. Brad Pitt's just got that movie star charm. Javier Bardem's the same way, and they work great as a friendship kind of deal. But great movie. Can't wait to watch it again. That one's coming on October 7th. A lot's coming out on October 7th. So that's going to be one. Spawn, which I reviewed here on the channel, is coming out that day. And so is Silverado in 4K Steelbook from Sony. I actually just got in the mail, which I'm going to be watching right after the show, Kroll on 4K Steelbook. That's a Sony 4K Blu-ray release. And I've never seen the movie Kroll before. That's a channel director's choice review for this month. Stone Gasman. So he recommended that, and I figured, hey, 4K Steelbook coming out. We got to review that as well. So it's a win-win. This one, though, I do like how this 4K Steelbook has the black base on it. I think I prefer that with gold over just the regular standard. I like the F1 logo at the bottom. Yeah, in the right-hand corner, kind of tilted on its side. I like that as well. Overall, I do think this is the better looking of them. I would definitely prefer that over the other standard one that they kind of gave, like, this one right here. Here's the actual Groove posting that I saw. So this was completely available October 7th. It was completely sold out when I saw it. I'm looking to pre-order F1 and at U571 this week. Yeah, so U571 has a standard release, and it also has 2 4K steelbooks coming out. I think that I like the one that's more. I like the one that's on fire. I guess I should probably pull that one up as well for you guys, right? I could probably just share the screen. That'll make things probably a lot easier anyway. I don't want to have any dead air here for you guys. But yeah, I'll just share the screen. So U571, here they are. So if you see these steel books like right here, this is the one I prefer. This is one that's on Groove right now. I like that one, but this is the classic poster one I believe that people are excited about. This one's pretty nice as well. I think this is a HMV exclusive. I'm not, 100% sure on that. Steelbook Blu-ray News is reporting it a certain way, but yeah. And, obviously there's the regular old-fashioned standard edition. How do you guys feel about this film? I don't remember loving it, but people are really excited for this one. Not somebody who's a huge fan of it. I don't know what you guys think, but just to get more back on the other news, we also got Criterion announcements for December this week. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but right here, I've never actually seen this movie. Return to Reason. Have you guys ever seen this one? This is one I have not seen, but pretty excited about that. There's Jacob's Ladder again. This was the other Jacob's Ladder 4K Steelbook for the UK release. I think it's Studio Canal. It'll be the same exact scan. So whichever one you get, if you get the Studio Canal release or you get the United States Lionsgate Limited release, it should be the exact same scan, probably with the exact same extras. It's just, one's coming from the United States and one's coming from the UK. I'm going to find all the... So here's some more. So this is another film that I actually have not seen. I'm going to read Salem. What does that say? Salem, Bombay. Never seen that one before, but that's coming out in December. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Now, this is one that really caught a lot of us, including myself, off guard. Tim Burton's debut film put Pee Wee Herman's character on the map. That obviously eventually led to a very successful TV show in the 1990s that I know people absolutely loved. I was never the biggest Pee Wee Herman fan. I'm not going to lie to you. I like Paul Rubin. I think, obviously in the early 1990s, he got caught cranking it in a porn theater. I just always have had the question of, like, what are people doing in a porn theater anyway? Because if you're not doing what he was doing, what are you, just watching the show? That's a little bit more weird to me than anything. Either way, or strange. But he would pop up in a lot of other movies throughout the 1990s. And, obviously he's in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He plays the father to the Penguin in Batman Returns. Terrible father. Throws his son in the river. That's something you should never do. But Pee-wee's Big Adventure never was something that I truly loved, but I know people absolutely love this movie. A few years ago when I worked at my old job, buddy of mine was able, but Paul Rubin was still alive, he was actually able to get him to do a cameo for his dad, who was a huge fan of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and got him and he just did like the nicest thing for him. So it was really cool to see that. So I'm happy for the Pee-wee fans. It's just not something that I truly am excited about, if I'm being honest. I know where I'm going. This is one I actually haven't seen myself, so I'm not too sure how good this is. And guys, if there's an issue ever with the chat not working, let me know, because I know that does that happened on yesterday's live show where the chat stopped working and something in the settings got switched. So if anyone ever sees that happen, email me at letstalkentmt@gmail.com. I have my phone right here. I'll see it pop up and I'll know to go try and check the settings and figure out what the hell happened, because it does happen. Frank knows all about YouTube glitches. And this one's very interesting. David Byrd's American Utopia. So this, I'm pretty sure, is still available on HBO Max, because it's just Max now, whatever the fuck it's called, Max, HBO Max, whatever. That's where it originally debuted a few years ago. I think in 2020 during COVID. David Byrne's the lead singer of the Talking Heads. Obviously, he's what's the A24 film that came out last year, but it came out all the way back in the 80s, where it was the Talking Heads. They were live in concert. I can't remember the name. It was the name of the tour that they did at the time. But anyway, that's getting a 4K Blu-ray release, which is the concert that he did himself in Madison Square Garden, I believe at the time, American Utopia. And David Byrne is a very interesting fellow. I've always really enjoyed his insight in wearing big suits. And I'm a big Talking Heads fan, so I'm a big Amazon has F1 pre-order for $44. Jeez, but they have screwed me for the last time. That's sold out. 4K Studio pre-orders. Don't know if I'll ever get them. Yeah, I don't know. They sold out really fast. I'm surprised how quick F1 actually sold out. I didn't expect that for that kind of movie. F1 is it was one of the highest grossing films of the year, and a lot of people loved it. But I thought that the Steelbooks, because there's a few different options from a few different sites, I thought it'd be more readily available for everybody. I didn't expect that one to sell out that fast. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is not selling out that fast. Like, you could still pre-order that, which is weird. I would think more people would have interest in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest than they would in F1. I don't know. I just, once celebrating its 50th anniversary, is one of the greatest films of all time, and F1's really good, but we're talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest here, and it's like $5 cheaper for that steelbook. Yeah, Amazon can be unreliable for pre-orders. And Tron came out on 4K steelbook yesterday, and so did Tron Legacy, and mine aren't coming till tomorrow. I know our channel bankroll member, Mr. Smelly Potato, told me that his Trons aren't coming until October 8th. Like, it almost defeats. Do they understand what the words pre-order means? It means I'm putting in my order for the date it comes out. You put out a date that is coming out, I assume my pre-order will be honored to receive it that date. And Amazon, for some reason, will email. We've all gotten that email on the day it's supposed to arrive. Like, new scheduled delivery date. And then you go in there and it'll be like, oh, it's coming 10 days after it was supposed to come out. Like, no reason, nothing. They just tell you that, well, you better suck it up and move on, or that's it for you. So it really does suck when that happens. I've been lucky that I haven't had anything get too delayed. Like, Kroll was supposed to be here yesterday, and now it got here today. So that's one day, and it'll be 2 days for the Trons, which is better than most people, unfortunately, have gotten treated with Trons. And that was the big thing with Disney. And that's the reason why I still don't have Kingdom of Heaven, is because of everything they handled, the way they handled those 4K steelbooks. They're getting better, but they're just creating a supply and demand issue that I really don't like. I don't think steelbooks sell out if they don't have a release date. That's the thing. Unfortunately, that happened with the Nightmare on Elm Street 4K Steelbook collection. Like, it sold out before Amazon even, I mean, before the official announcement from Warner Brothers. Like, Amazon put out the pre-order, a bunch of people just found it, sold out of the pre-order, and then people who are actually fans of the series aren't able to get that 4K Steelbook collection. And in my opinion, the standard collection from Warner Brothers, yeah, it looks very like a lazy release to me, like a lot of like the James Bond collection. Like, people want the Steelbook collection. A Nightmare on Elm Street is one of the most famous franchises of all time, one of the greatest slasher characters of all time, one of the greatest horror villains of all time. It has a legacy throughout the entire franchise. The last Blu-ray release was not that great, so a lot of people wanted a nicer release when it comes to the standard editions. And if you weren't going to do that, you should have at least made the 4K steelbooks more readily available to people. So it's really unfortunate. I did get the 4K steelbooks. I was pretty fortunate. I'm not gonna lie and pretend like I didn't. I was able to get them. So I'll be doing individual releases for all of those, because I imagine that Warner Brothers will do exactly what they did for the James Bond Sean Connery collection and separate them out into individual releases just with horrible artwork. So are you guys excited for American Utopia? Are you a David Burns fan? Are you a fan of any of those kinds of movies? Let me know. But yeah, for me, I thought it was a pretty slow Criterion month, which is kind of good to save a little bit of money in December, because there are some other stuff coming out in December that I'm very excited about. Where is it? Got it somewhere in here. I'll find it. I know I'll find it. Oh, right here. Minority Report. We officially got it added to the list of coming out, I believe, December 9th. We're going to be getting this and Catch Me If You Can, wherever that is, right there. So I think this has a steelbook coming out as well. But this is supposedly the standard edition artwork for Catch Me If You Can. Both of these movies came out directed by Steven Spielberg in 2002. I absolutely love Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can. I pre-ordered One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest because of what you and Dennis said about it. Yeah, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of the best films of all time. I can't deny it. Jack Nicholson gives a career-defining performance in that movie with so many supporting actors in like early roles like Christopher Lloyd, Danny DeVito, and Brad Dourif. Brad Dourif nominated for an Academy Award for that film. And I was thinking about it. It's funny because Chris Sarandon also in a 1970 at the same Academy Awards. They didn't even put it together. But Chris Sarandon from Dog Day Afternoon, he plays Al Pacino's lover in that movie. He gets nominated for that movie, an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Brad Dourif gets nominated for Best Supporting Actor for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And then both of them are the co-stars of Child's Play in 1987. So I wonder if they imagine their careers going that way. I'm not too sure. Ian says, I love David Burns' American Utopia. It is one of the best filmed Broadway show performances I've ever seen. It's one of Spike Lee's best in terms of directed features. I agree with you on that. I definitely will eventually end up with that in my collection. And people don't even realize that was directed by Spike Lee. I love the way the stage was designed. The way that the song choices, you have some just David Byrne singles in there. You have some Talking Head songs built in there. I really enjoyed that as well. And it was actually one of my fonder memories of, sprinkled in when there weren't some great, it was my favorite film of 2020. Okay. 2020, I think, was it 2021 when we had, Inside, that film by, what's the comedian's name? That was my favorite film of that year, because it was just such a unique perspective on the pandemic in general. But yeah, that was actually one of my favorite films of 2020 as well. I loved American Utopia. So maybe I'll grab that. It's just that it's just very readily available to watch now. So I don't know if I won't buy it. I'll probably end up getting that in a sale. But back to Minority Report directed by Steven Spielberg. I would probably say that's the most famous film of that year. I literally just said on this show last week that we hadn't heard about Minority Report or Catch Me If You Can. And I wasn't sure if maybe they ran into rights issues again, because that was always the rumor. It was a 20th Century Fox film, and it's weird that actually Paramount had the rights to it, because I believe, right, this is a Paramount 4K Blu-ray release, which is scary because if you guys know Paramount, and they will be reusing the same audio, so if you have the previously released Blu-ray, Minority Report and Catch Me If You Can will be having the same exact audio, which is right in line with what Paramount does now. I don't remember the last time Paramount gave us a brand new upgraded audio track for any of their catalog titles. Someone can point it out to me, but I'm not too sure when the last time we actually got that was. But Catch Me If You Can, I already have the Blu-ray, so I will be getting the 4K because I love Catch Me If You Can. And coming out in December, Catch Me If You Can, it's got a couple of Christmas scenes in there, so I am pretty excited about that, if I'm being honest. What do you guys think of the steelbook though? I think it's pretty nice. Pretty standard, nothing too special. I like the back of this though. Actually, I like the badge on the back. That's pretty unique looking. So yeah, another couple of looks at it that got him in here. Catch Me If You Can again. Tom Hanks is great in Catch Me If You Can. Surprising that him and Leonardo DiCaprio, Steven Spielberg worked with them both a few times, I believe. I think recently Leo said that out of all the directors he's ever worked with, though, he always just wants to work with Martin Scorsese again and again. And you see that he's always popping up and starring in his movies. Really excited to see one battle after another in the upcoming weeks. Nice steelbook. Hope the UK gets this. I hope you guys do as well. I'm not too sure what the outlook is on that movie getting its 4K Blu-ray release. This is one of the US releases through Paramount, so I'm not too sure who's doing the UK releases of these movies, at least off the top of my head. If someone else knows, though, I would appreciate you pointing that out. Just let me know. Let's see what else we got out there that we haven't discussed yet. So I think we actually got to most of the news. At least everything I had teed up. I can always go on my phone, see if we got anything else. Any other 4K Blu-ray news you guys have seen it? Because I can actually go to Blu-ray.com and we can see what else has been announced. Let's actually tell you guys what I Blu-ray.com is screen share with you guys. Mark's movie menu said, I'm looking forward to oh yes, let's get that up in here on 4K. I really only wanted the big blue. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt. And Valerian was one I was really excited about as well. So yeah, let me get the Luc Besson collection up in here. I had that one pulled aside. So this is actually pretty nice. We'll go to this one first. This is actually a very nice set. So we'll go back to the screen sharing because that's how that works. Add to stage. So we're back on. Hopefully you guys can see this. Can you guys see that? Let me go back and see. No, it doesn't share the right one. Odd. But anyway, here's Blu-ray.com. We'll go through the Luc Besson collection, the section. There's an Agatha Christie collection. Yes, the Agatha Christie collection is very nice. I think I showed that on last week's show, but I could be wrong. Let me see if this will pop up. So yeah, this is what the full 4K looks like as far as that goes. If you guys could see, that's like the full collection, and you got the whole list of movies on the side, including Valeria, and they all have their individually packed 4K Blu-rays, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Luc Besson, my favorite films from him, I already have on 4K Blu-ray. I already have The Fifth Element. I already have Nefem Nikita, and I already have my favorite of his, which is Leon, and it's got two names. There's just Leon, and then there's Leon the Professional, or just the Professional. I always just call it Leon the Professional. Different films, technically. One's the French release, and one is the United States release. A little bit of a different. I prefer the theatrical cut of that film, just because it feels a little weird to me. The other version, the extended cut, definitely explores the relationship between Natalie Portman and Jean Reno's character. Don't necessarily appreciate them exploring that a little more, even though I don't think Jean Reno's character does anything wrong. Just I don't know, makes me feel a little bit squirmy, if I'm being honest, in that sense. But here's the entire collection as well, if you're trying to get a look at all the 4K Blu-rays. I have all those and Lucy. So yeah, that's the thing as well. I think this is more for people who don't have any of his 4K Blu-rays, because if you're going to be pulling out movies, what exactly do you want to like? Do you just sell the movies that you already have on 4K Blu-ray to buy this collection? Because it is really nice, and Luc Besson is a very good director. I just don't know if I would buy this one. I think Pee-wee's like Big Adventure for Crying are great. Not only the first Tim Burton movie in the collection, but a good title for people that need an entry point into Criterion. That's a good point too, because that's like one of the Criterion collection, I would say, like, introduction kind of movies that it'll get big sales for them, because that's kind of a, that's a movie that's more palatable. That's not something like, I don't expect people to be going in there and buying a foreign film or a film from a country that they don't live in. so that I don't expect them to be going out there and being like, oh yeah, let me just go grab this film right here. Let me grab the Three Colors trilogy for the first time. Like, I don't expect that to happen. I wish it would, but exactly. This is a good introduction point. And Criterion's always done this. Like Wall-E a couple of years ago, that was kind of felt like a mainstream film that they wanted to have crossover in there. Came out the same day as Malcolm X on 4K Blu-ray. But the Criterion, I actually just for the first time, I know this is a physical media show, but I literally just got the Criterion channel to stream just because I wanted to check out some movies. I think I told you guys on yesterday's show, I've been really in a what's it called, a Robert Altman kick. So I've been really in the Robert Altman films the last. So I watched The Long Goodbye the other day. I'm in the mood to watch Nashville. So they're all just there neatly, and I don't have all of his movies on physical media. What's weird is that I have a Criterion Blu-ray for Shortcuts, but Shortcuts isn't on the Criterion channel. So it's kind of weird that a film like that, which I would say is probably one of Robert Altman's most famous films, you could only get the proof is in the pudding on physical media on that one if you want to watch Shortcuts, which is probably, I mean, is it his best film? I still say The Player. The Player is one that's always meant a lot to me, and actually that's my first Criterion Blu-ray was The Player, so it holds a special place in my heart. It was in a complete accident that I got it, and it opened up all these doors into the Criterion collection. Back to Luc Besson, if anyone's interested like in these kinds of movies. The steelbooks are very nice. I still think that The Professional, which the composer for The Professional also composed the score to Goldeneye, and people really don't like that Goldeneye score, which is crazy, but I love it. I think it fits the movie very well. They do sound very similar to each other, so I think it works. Let me pull up that Agatha Christie. I think we talked about the Agatha Christie collection last week, but I could be wrong. But let me get those 4K Blu-rays up as well. Agatha. I just realized I don't know how to spell Agatha. Of all the 4K collection. All right, not popping up. I'm also a very bad speller, guys. I'm not going to sit here and pretend to lie you guys on that as well. Not the best speller, but all right, got the pictures right here. If anyone uses an Apple computer, I'm going to create a PDF for this because it makes it easier for going into here to get more pictures into. So we'll upload that real quick. Give you guys an image file of... Actually, you know what? I'm an idiot. I am an idiot. Right here. So it'll pop up in 1 second, guys. I promise. Right there, the Agatha Christie collection. So we actually got remakes for a bunch of these films recently, like Death on the Nile and Murder on the Orient Express. Those got releases directed by Kenneth Branagh, I believe, a couple of years ago. And there was a third one, which isn't one of these movies, if I'm correct. Not Evil Under the Sun. I don't believe The Mirror. Actually, was it The Mirror Correct? Could be The Mirror Correct. Starring Russell Crowe that came out a couple of years ago. Those remakes, those are movies like my wife liked. My wife would probably like the originals. I don't think she's ever seen any of these Agatha Christie movies, but she loves a good murder mystery movie. Speaking of which, the new Knives Out trailer came out. Didn't watch it. I'm just excited to see a new Knives Out movie. I like those movies. They're fun murder mystery movies. It's just, doesn't Rian Johnson feel like he's being wasted a little bit by you guys? Like the fact that we don't really get any other movies from Rian Johnson. I feel like the film industry kind of broke him down when it kind of came to Star Wars The Last Jedi and all the criticism he got from that movie and from the fandom of Star Wars. I feel like it kind of broke him down a little bit, unfortunately, which sucks because I really liked movies he did before The Last Jedi. Like, I love Brick. That's a fantastic movie. And Looper is another fantastic movie. So it would have been cool to see him actually, get to go back and do something a little bit different. Even though I do enjoy the Knives Out movies, it's just that's all we've kind of gotten from him since The Last Jedi. And The Last Jedi, for all of its flaws as far as being a Star Wars film, it's a well-made movie. Acres and Movies. Sorry I'm late. No problem, Stacy. I'm just glad you made it. And I was talking about Robert Redford earlier. If we have time at the end, I'll list off my top 5 favorites. I just kind of gave an overview about, his great career that he had. But yeah, so if you guys are interested in the Agatha Christie collection, I believe that's coming out in October as well. We got something announced for December, I believe, actually, other than these movies, and I could be wrong on that, but we got a lot coming out this pretty damn soon. At least we also got Poker Face. That's a really good Rian Johnson TV series. That's a very good point. We did he did do a TV series. Rian Johnson's a phenomenal director. I just feel like I feel like we broke his spirit, if I'm being honest, with all that. I think he went in, like, people shit on him like he went in there to destroy Star Wars, and I really don't think that was the case. I think he went in there, made his Star Wars movie. I more blame Disney and I blame Disney more than anything. Honestly, they should have went in there with a plan of a trilogy. Say what you want about the prequel trilogy from George Lucas, but at least they're directed by the same guy. Complete vision throughout, like the original trilogy. It's got flaws, believe me. The prequel trilogy has got flaws. My biggest sin in film can really be that horrible CGI, and all three of those movies have it with some bad dialogue. But it's a complete vision. You sit down to watch the trilogy, and you know what you're getting. Evil Under the Sun, underrated. Maybe. I don't know where actually I even would rate that film if I'm being 100% honest, Stacey. Let's see what else we got. We can go back to Blu-ray.com. I'll go back to sharing that screen, and we can look at the calendar because there's a lot coming out. See if there's anything that I missed coming out in the next couple of weeks. 28 Years Later finally dropped in price. I might get that now. What do you see that right here? This finally dropped to $29.96, 40%. I was waiting to see if that would drop because that is one of my favorite films of the year. I know not everybody loved 28 Years Later. I do think they kind of mismarketed it, but I actually personally really do like 28 Years Later. I think that was a phenomenal film. Had one of the most, it got one of my most emotional reactions this year with a scene towards the end. I did. Ray Fiennes is great in that movie as well. Aaron Taylor Johnson's phenomenal. So I'm personally really excited. I couldn't justify it being over $30. And look at this. Not $30 anymore. $29.96. So within range. Evil Under the Sun is my favorite. Love Diana Rigg. Wow, that's all. Let's see. Look at that, Stacey. So it is underrated then. I'd love to see you review 80s horror shot on video anthology Tales from the Quad Dead Zone. I've never seen that actually before. I'd check it out though. If it came from the 80s, there's a good chance that I'm gonna like it. I'm a big 80s fan. I love me some 80s cheese, but there's a lot of great movies that came out in the 1980s. I think we all can agree on that. But let's check out there's a lot of good sales going on right now. The Bone Collector, that's a movie that I saw in school more than once, believe it or not, in a couple of science classes. But they would do the thing, especially I think it was forensics class, where we'd only watch like crime scene stuff. We wouldn't watch the whole movie, so we weren't getting the drama of the whole thing. Crazy that what's his name spends the entire Denzel Washington spends the entire he's paralyzed, so he spends the entire movie in bed. And I'm actually on that, so pretty good movie though. I wouldn't say it's a great one. Weapons down to $28 for the standard edition. The Mask still at $45. Batman the Animated Series is a phenomenal. $28 is not bad. That's a steal for that. And the rundown, the rundown is how I would describe that. It's okay. $22 because of the Kino Lorber sales, probably not too bad though. If I'm being honest, at least, The Rock in that movie, not the greatest. And we actually found out that the Walking Tall there, not exactly the best. So evil. Let's see what else. I lost the screen sharing though. What the hell? See, that's a glitch that happens. We'll go back to Blu-ray.com. I'm sorry about that, guys. My fault. I'll go back to screen sharing with you guys right here. I apologize. Yeah. Go back to look at the release calendar. You guys see all that now, right? Perfect. All right. I wish we could get the JFK movie. You guys don't have JFK on 4K Blu-ray in the UK? I did not know that. Wow, we actually have a beautiful Shout Select one here. I'm surprised that if it came from Shout, I'm not too sure you would think Arrow Video would do that then, because I've seen that happen pretty recently, where some Shout releases over here in the United States, the UK would get the Arrow Video version. I'm very surprised that hasn't happened. That's kind of disappointing to hear. I'm sorry about that. That sucks. I really wish they would do that. Has there been any Oliver Stone stuff released over there? Like, have you gotten anything like Platoon or anything like that? No, man. I was tempted to import it. Man, I would say wait, because it's got to come out at some point. What is that? That's Warner Brothers. So it's got to come from Arrow Video at some point down the line off the top of my head. It just would probably end up being a UK release only for you guys if I had to guess, which is fine as long as you guys get it. Because that's kind of messed up that I would just wait a little while longer. It has to. It's JFK. It's a very important film. I would think that it's coming at some point. But looking at the release calendar here, Lost in Space is well, we're in September, but like coming out in the next couple of weeks. Night of the Living Dead, that's a big one. I actually had to cancel my pre-order on that just because I had to save a little bit of money somewhere. I might get Superman or 28 Years Later. I haven't decided. I might pick up one of those. I know there's so much coming out. The Sound of Music next week. Like I said, I'm not the world's biggest Sound of Music fan. Here's the standard releases for the Sean Connery 4K Blu-ray collection. I do not like those. Beetlejuice. I think that's a nice little steelbook coming out. Here's the Tron movies, it's weird to see them actually put the UK import thing right here on here. You never really see them do that for the US only kind of deal. And then obviously at the end of the month, there's the Nightmare on Elm Street collection, Life of Chuck. I'm interested in, I can't wait to watch that movie, directed by Mike Flanagan. We're getting the Wes Anderson 4K archive collection, and then standard 4K Blu-ray releases on their own for Isla Dog and French Dispatch. Great movies, American Pie. I'm like, there's just so much coming. It's hard to keep up with everything like this coming on 4K Blu-ray. It's just a stacked end of the month, and then forget it. Once we get into October, that's where things get real crazy. Just going to check the chat real quick, see what everybody's up to. Steve Buscemi have more starring roles with the rundown. Have been better if Steve Buscemi played the Rock role. I think so. The Rock was, that was early Rock. I want to say it's like 02, 03. Does Heaven and Earth have a 4K Blu-ray? I don't believe it does, but hey, we could always check right here, right? Let's see. Heaven and Earth. Limited to 3. It doesn't look like it does. Looks like it's just a Blu-ray. But, someone might know better than me on that one. I've been wrong before. We know that. So back to the release calendar. Let's get back into October, see what's going on for October. So, yeah. So I'm getting right here. I will be getting the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but I'm getting the UK version. So I won't have that till the middle of the month. I think theirs comes out on October 20th. So I got the slipcover version just to save a little bit of money. And because I packaged it in with something else that I'm going to be getting here in the United States. What's up, buddy? Mozart's Ghost is here. No worries, man. I'm glad you could just pop in. I only have the Doors movie in 4K from Oliver. I would love to get Alexander because I love the Vangelis scores. Oh, Vangelis, one of the best of all time. Did the score to one of my all-time favorite scores for Blade Runner, which, yeah, I get that. It's a shame. That's one big thing that really sucks is that, it's greed. It's purely just greed. That's all it really is because these studios, some of us will even double dip. Like the Silence of the Lambs, the UK release through Arrow Video is the best release. It's way better than the Kino release. Just came on my radar. Looks like a one that that's going to be a great 4K Blu-ray just because of the shifting IMAX ratios. And I'm telling you, I saw it in an IMAX theater. It's going to sound phenomenal. So that's going to be one that's going to really break out your system. Can't wait for that one. October 7th. As we can see right here, at October 7th is just a stacked month. Spawn, I did that 4K Blu-ray review yesterday. Silverado, I have pre-ordered. That's a Sony 4K Steelbook release here in the United States. That's kind of all we get, or just that's it. It's Steelbook. There are no standard editions. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I already have the Blu-ray, so I'll only get that in a sale. That's one of David Lynch's masterpieces. End of Days, as big of an Arnold fan as I am, I'm going to wait for a sale on that one. Talked about F1, Clues 4K Steelbook, pretty cool. The Quick and the Dead, Sam Raimi film getting a 4K Steelbook release. I have that 4K Blu-ray, so I won't be upgrading just because I already have the Steelbook. Frank says, F1. Frank is an F1. That's Frank's favorite film of the year, guys. I believe it's still, correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, if that changed, but I believe that's still his favorite film of the year, so I'm sure he's pretty damn excited about that 4K Blu-ray coming out in October. Sorry if I sound a little, my voice sounds a little, I've been kind of getting a little, I'm definitely coming down with a cold. I've noticed the last couple of hours, I'm starting to feel more and more congested, which I'm sure if you live, I don't know how the rest of the world is right now, but I live in the Northeast of the United States, which means we're going through the seasonal change. So starting to feel a little bit colder, and that's when we all kind of just get these seasonal colds. And of course, with my immune system, it's gonna happen. Here's the UK import for Return of the Living Dead, my all-time favorite zombie film. I was tempted, but I already have the United States release of that. I can't imagine that there's a huge difference. Another big week is of the week of October 14th. I've had the pre-order in for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning for a Dead Reckoning. It was supposed to be Dead Reckoning Part 2, but the final Reckoning, the last Mission Impossible film, I'll see it when I believe it, coming out on that day. I was able to get this pre-order for like $22 on Amazon, so that's why I have it still pre-ordered. Otherwise, I would wait, but I got the standard edition at that price, and I thought that's a pretty good deal, so I'll still get that. We talked about the Bone Collector being on sale right now for $22. If you were lucky to get the 4K Steelbook, it's been long sold out. I got the standard edition. Weapons is one of the best films of 2025, in my opinion. Make a New Witness. I just was about to rewatch Witness the other day. Witness is a great film. I don't know if it would work in the modern age, although you can address the technology thing in there as well. But the original Witness with Harrison Ford is phenomenal. Great 4K Blu-ray release from Arrow. Saw it 3 times in the theaters, easily my number one. Now that's support for a film, and you know Frank means that. And Frank, I better give it more of an effort the second time around, not to let you down. Or just love the movie on its own. I like the movie way more than I like the sport of F1. If you guys want to hear me rant a little bit on F1 compared to NASCAR, I think NASCAR is a lot more entertaining. F1 is much more strategic. It's more about the cars. Everyone can do, the movie really explains the sport very well. It can get people into it. But I think if you're watching a race, I think F1 is just a lot less interesting than compared. You're really at the mercy of the car and a lot less at the mercy of the driver, where I think NASCAR comes out on top. Could stand up to anyone. He's so good. Yeah, Brad Pitt, unfortunately, got labeled as a pretty boy a long time ago, which is really a shame because he's a lot more than that. He's a phenomenal actor. The way he played Cliff Booth in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I still think Leo gave the better performance in that movie. I know everyone was just like, I don't think people were appreciating Brad Pitt enough and his work. And that's why they kind of overlooked a lot of his other filmography. I agree with you, Mozart's Ghost. I think he put his filmography against anyone, and it'll stand out. Like, great performance after great performance. He's much more than just a handsome guy. He's a great actor. Are you guys seeing this? Let's make sure that I got you guys in the same place as me. Okay, we're in the right spot, it looks like. So yeah, we'll go down a little bit. So again, on the 14th, we got some, besides that, we got The Curse of Frankenstein 4K. I believe there's a Warner Archive release. It is. I would love to grab that. There's just so much. Like, what do I get? Like, that week, this day alone, I'm getting Mission Impossible, Weapons, Jacob's Ladder. So that's 3 right there just on this one day. Like, my wife is gonna fucking kill me when she sees all these movies coming. Hopefully they spread them out so she doesn't notice. The Back to the Future trilogy on 4K Blu-ray is one that I was very interested in as well, but even though I already have them, but these steelbooks are so nice. I think actually the ones that Frank has are the nicer versions, so I don't know if he's upgrading or not, but I like what Frank's that make the DeLorean across all 3 films. I think those steelbooks are nicer. And then I know people are really excited for the Fantastic Four First Steps 4K Blu-ray. That's one I can definitely wait on. That's only going to be a sale 4K Blu-ray release for me. I like the Gran Turismo movie. I got Rush imported. They need to make a 4K of the movie Grand Prix. That would be good. Grand Prix would be great on 4K Blu-ray. I don't know if you like the movie. What was it? Driven with Sylvester Stallone. One of my first DVDs actually was Driven. Rush. That one is great. That the Ron Howard film. That one I really do. I agree. That's a great film. Gran Turismo actually better than I expected it to be, if I'm being honest. Had no business being that good. When they all show up, you got to put them somewhere. I don't know what. Maybe I'll hide them in the garage or bring them in like sporadically, sneak them inside when she goes to work. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. Did you see Johnny Suede? I did not, Stacy, unfortunately. Didn't see that one. But then, yeah. Okay, so after you survive October 14th and your wallet's somehow still intact, you get into the 21st. And I have right here both A History of Violence, directed by David Cronenberg, and Altered States pre-ordered, paid for, thankfully. Criterion Collection releases. I haven't pre-ordered The Place Beyond the Pines on 4K Blu-ray yet because, again, so much coming out. And I have the Blu-ray for that. And Shout Select they've let me down this year. That really does feel like the lazy release studio of Shout's division. Like between just regular Shout Factory and Scream Factory, Shout Select has really gotten the shaft and given some of the worst releases of 2025 between Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and Time Cop, which are very good visual upgrades, but that's all you're going to get. And if you're an extras junkie, well, you'll be sorely disappointed. But The Place Beyond the Buff Pines is a film is incredibly underrated. Eddington coming out that week as well, that day as well. My right now, that's up there in my top 3 favorite films of 2025. Ari Aster, not a film for everybody, but if you can appreciate that one, we're getting that 4K Blu-ray. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to that. Continuing on down the list, the Saws are getting a couple of them. We already got some. We're getting sporadic releases for all of the Saw films. We got Saw on 4K Blu-ray a couple of years ago. Not a great 4K Blu-ray release, if I remember correctly. Saw 2, 3, and 4, which is probably the last of the good ones before they kind of got like the reboot with Spiral, and then Saw 10 a couple. Is it 2 years ago now? Which I thought was actually one of the best in the franchise. I would probably go actually right now. The original Saw 2, which is getting a 4K Steelbook release, and then Saw X as the top 3 in the franchise. But 3 and 4, they take place over the same time, so it's pretty cool that those are getting 4K Blu-ray releases. 3 and 4 are good. I like that. That's the twist for 4, because that was the thing with the Saw films. They always had to have a twist at the very end because that's what the first film did, and they became a Halloween tradition until they just they burnt the Saw franchise into the ground. I'm sure you guys know that. Mozart's Ghost said Blue Underground is coming out with raw meat. People kind of sleep on that label. I need the synopsis. It sounds good, actually. Blue Underground is a great label. They actually have some of the best 4K Blu-ray releases I've ever seen. Their scan of Maniac Cop 2 and 3 are phenomenal. Maniac Cop 3 is one of the best 4K Blu-rays you can buy as far as upgrades go. The movie itself is the problem, and that's really what hurts Blue Underground completely is the films that they get. I don't know what it is. I don't understand either because it's like they do incredible transfers. You would think they would be trusted with doing the transfer for other films, but they kind of get stuck with like these very like forgotten horror films like Son of Sam and like movies like is it they get Son of Sam? I can't remember, but like they gotta like they get just they don't really get great films. Maniac, just not Maniac Cop, just Maniac is a Blue Underground release as well, which is really, really, really good. So if you're a fan of Maniac, that's a very underrated film. Just to go back to this. So also coming out is right here, Rampage. Rampage is this is a William Friedkin film starring Michael Biehn. So I actually really enjoy this movie. The problem is this movie is very uneven. When you actually see the serial killer in this movie and doing what he's doing, it gets really uncomfortable. It gets really under your skin. It's the trial aspects, which is what this film is mostly about, is taking place during a trial and the courtroom stuff. That stuff falls. It's a little bit tough. Michael Biehn, he's still great, but you know you can see he's not the leading man that a lot of other great actors are. But I'm going to get this one eventually. It's a William Friedkin film, not one of my personal favorites. I was just talking to somebody about this movie today, and I would really like this is directed by Oliver Stone. Speaking of Oliver Stone, Savages from 2012. I need to revisit this movie. I don't know if that's getting a UK release, but yeah, Savages. Speaking of Oliver Stone, getting another 4K Blu-ray. One of his more, not a personal favorite of mine. I guess the internet's going a little slow, probably because doing a stream and everything, and whatever Fate's watching in the other room. So continuing on, and then obviously we just talked about the X trilogy at the beginning of this. Confirmed, coming to 4K Blu-ray. It looks like October 21st. Nosferatu the Vampire on 4K Blu-ray. People are excited about this one. This is the 1979 release, which is cool. I think that that's probably my least favorite of the 3 Nosferatu films. I think the original one's still the best. And then even though I thought the Robert Eggers one was, it looked great, it sounded great. It was just I was pretty bored throughout that film. Everyone felt like Robert Eggers let me down a little bit. He's actually let me down a little bit in his last 2 films, but you know I don't blame anyone if they love them as well. Now here's another. We get into the end of October, October 28th. What another week for the 4K Blu-ray releases, right? Mark's Movie Menu said, I have both the John Woo 4K box sets from Shout pre-order. I'm getting scared thinking I should wait for Arrow Video UK releases. I don't know what to do. That's another thing, like because Arrow's going to do the releases as well. Are they going to be better? I'm not entirely sure. I have to get Hard Boiled though. I'm pretty sure I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering Hard Boiled because that's one of the best action films ever. But it's just the artwork. I'm not a big fan of green. Finally, we can get all the X movies without importing. Yes. Although I don't know how I would say that if you probably did do those 4K imports, it's probably the same scan. So maybe you don't get the X trilogy on 4K Blu-ray from A24. If you're expecting an upgrade, I imagine that it will look and sound the same. But again, I don't fucking know because I don't have it. So you'd have to ask somebody like Mozart. Nah, racing isn't for me. Frank, they do have a racetrack in Portland. They actually had an Xfinity race there this past year, and apparently it was one of the worst races of the season. So I don't know what you guys are doing up there in Oregon because they're not going back. But I'll get you into NASCAR one day. It's one of my goals to get more people in NASCAR. It's not just a redneck sport. There's a little bit more to it. You know, they're trying to change. Which of the next Oliver Stone movies would you want to get next released by Shout after Snowden, which is coming out pretty soon, actually, as well? I was thinking Any Given. That was literally what I was going to say is Any Given Sunday. Football fan, Any Given Sunday, Al Pacino. Underrated sports movie. Very raw, dirty, disgusting sports movie in a lot of ways. Probably realistic. Jamie Foxx as well. I'd probably have to say Any because we don't have many left. We've gotten all the classics from Shout. I think some people would probably want to redo on Platoon, though, from what I understand. Great Dolby Atmos, too. So I haven't actually looked at the stats. Like, this all just kind of came to fruition with the X trilogy coming. I got my pre-order and I didn't even look. Like, I didn't even go down. I was just like, I was at my regular job and I ran to the bathroom when I saw online that it was up just in case it sold out. I don't think it will because I don't know how many people truly love this trilogy, but I was like, I ran in the bathroom and put my pre-order in and everything, and then came back to work. I was like, I have to do it. I gotta. It's fucking. I love that trilogy of movies, so I couldn't wait personally. But continuing, so you guys have probably heard me say this is John Carpenter's most underrated film. So Arrow Videos, In the Mouth of Madness, coming out October 28th. Cannot wait for this and to be watching it like this close to Halloween. Maybe not the most spooky season kind of horror film, but I mean, there's some fall elements into it, but still, it's a classic John Carpenter film. I cannot wait for that. Sam Neill. This one's a big one for me. I don't know how you guys feel about Guillermo del Toro, but we've gotten pretty much a lot of Guillermo del Toro films on 4K Blu-ray through the Criterion Collection. Earlier this year, we got Kronos, which I would like to do a full 4K Blu-ray review for here on the channel. I got his Pinocchio. I bought both versions. I'm giving away to the channel members my one version of what the hell am I'm trying to on one of his films. What's it called? Let me get a look at his films real quick and see which ones I actually have on 4K Blu-ray. But Shape of Water, that's got the 4K Blu-ray release through Criterion as well. What else? Unfortunately, Pan's Labyrinth just has a Blu-ray release. It doesn't even have a Criterion Blu-ray release. But Nightmare Alley is this is a 4-disc set. So Nightmare Alley already had a 4K Blu-ray release, I think, through Universal. And that's not going to be the definitive edition anymore because Guillermo del Toro has this great working relationship with the Criterion Collection. So we're going to get Nightmare Alley in the black and white edition as well, the noir edition, and we're going to get the regular colorized version. I think it's redone as well, a brand new scan. Guillermo del Toro, the reason why his films transfer so well to the 4K Blu-ray format is he likes to use practical effects. He uses real sets and everything, and that's something that truly speaks to me because the set design in Nightmare Alley, I think about those black like marble floors, like with Bradley Cooper and Cate Blanchett. Like I think that it's stunning. Some of the best snow. He knows how to shoot snow. Believe me. Look at Blade and look at Blade 2. He didn't do the first Blade though, but Blade 2. So I am very excited for the 4-disc release of Nightmare Alley, and that should open the doors. We're also getting his version of Frankenstein on Netflix, which I think that should get a 4K Blu-ray release too, because we got Pinocchio, which was a Netflix film, and it's giving it a theatrical release, which I talked about in the past. It's like a fake theatrical release for Frankenstein because it'll just be in smaller theaters. It won't get the full theatrical treatment and like get put in like AMC or Regal. Like the closest one where I was able to see highest to lowest was like 40 miles from me, which is crazy. There's like 4 theaters within 15 miles of me. Given not all of the best, but the closest one was like 40 miles to me, and it was a very low budget theater. So that's like kind of what they do to try and get people to still watch streaming movies on the streaming service. Like they put it out like, it's coming out, you're going to get to watch it in theaters, but you don't really get to watch it in theaters. They really still want you to watch it at home. But I want to see Frankenstein on the big screen. So I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong on that one. Because Guillermo del Toro is one of my favorite directors. Mozart's Ghosts. Let's see what he said. And you right up here so I can read it. Nightmare Alley is going to be a blind buy. Dude, I hope you love it. I really hope I didn't mislead you. Nightmare Alley is a favorite of mine, but I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan. He makes these like great, like dark fantasy horror films that just they speak to me. So, but I know that might not be for everybody. Miss 45, Abel for Eras. This is like the film that really like made him famous. Um, I would like to grab this one, but I don't know if I'm going to grab it on day one because again, so much coming out. Also, not my favorite Abel Ferrara film. That's Bad Lieutenant for me. King of New York is great, but King of New York and Bad Lieutenant are my two favorite ones. Um, what else are we getting? The Resurrected. I've never seen this film. I've also never seen Dust Devil, but I know people are excited. I love Death Wish 1 and 2. 3 is like when things start to get really off the rails, but I do want to grab that 4K, but just probably can't grab it that day. Same thing with like Shin Godzilla. The Airport Collection, I can wait on that. I don't necessarily need to grab that on day one. Gator Bait Collection of 4K, never seen that. Study Buddies 4K, another one I haven't seen. Deep Crimson, haven't seen. The Toxic Avenger 4K Steelbook. This is the new 2025 one, but it's 2 years it's sat on the shelf, 2023. But I'm probably going to actually end up grabbing this because I don't have the original one on 4K Blu-ray. It's the only Toxic Avenger I like from Troma, the original one from the 1980s and the remake. So this is probably how I'll end up watching the new one. Is I'll buy this double pack because I've been holding out on getting it. So I'll get the original and the remake. We'll kill two birds with one stone on that one. But it's getting a standard 4K Blu-ray release. It's getting a Steelbook release. So they're really going all out for it, which you'll like to see it. And that's as far as October goes. So October, like I said, looks very, very expensive. So I got way too much that week. That month, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to see The Descent in cinema next month for spooky season. I'm guessing it's getting an upgraded to 4K. Yeah, I've heard a couple of so it's been pretty much confirmed that people, and from what I understand, Lionsgate Limited, and I'm going to guess that's going to be one of their November releases. That's the United States will be Lionsgate Limited. I don't know who the UK release will be, but definitely a 4K Blu-ray is coming down the pipe. Really glad to see it. The Descent, one of the most original horror films of the last 25 years. So glad that that's getting the love it deserves. Can't wait. I definitely glad to upgrade my Blu-ray for that one. I'm sure the artwork will be great as well. That's cool. You're getting to see that in cinemas too, seeing the new scan. I love that they're doing that, promoting new scans of films now and releasing them in theaters. Like TMNT did. It's just, again, I don't know how they are with the screens over there. Sometimes we'll get them released in IMAX and Dolby, like Batman. We got to see the new scan of Batman, which if you guys notice that the Batman, the originals, the original 4, Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman Robin, those collections are on sale right now. That's probably because there's new Dolby Vision scans of at least the first 2, because I saw Batman 89 on the big screen on 4K in Dolby Cinemas a couple weeks ago. Great experience, by the way, but that was with a new Dolby scan that if you had a problem with the original Warner Brothers scan with the just the regular HDR10 at the time and thought it was a little bit too blue, they fixed that, which was my complaint about it, a little bit too blue. But if you're somebody who wanted that thing brightened up, not the case. I kind of fall where I kind of wanted darker because Batman 89 is a darker film, but I absolutely can't wait. I prefer watching Netflix movies in theaters over streaming. Right there with you, buddy. I just find the experience worth it, even if they're only shown in select theaters and film festivals. Yeah, I mean, film festivals is different. It's just the theaters that I live in Long Island. I'm not too sure. Obviously, I don't know where all you guys live, but I live on Long Island, New York, and we just get stuck with the worst. As far as when they put these movies in theaters, we have nice theaters, but they won't put these movies in nice theaters or close theaters or if I get out to the city, that's always great. That's where I can go see it, and the city is usually much better. They treat film there in the city better. This is Los Angeles or New York City. So if I lived in the city, it would be perfect for me. But unfortunately, I live in Suffolk County, so a little bit further away. So I go out there and see a movie on the big screen when I can, but it's not something I can do all the time just because I have my regular job. I wish one day, hopefully, this time of the year. I'm just glad I am not new to collecting. Oh my god! But you know what? The new collectors get to actually get all the other 4K Blu-rays. We're getting everything up. My list that I usually do at the beginning of the year of the top 10 movies I want on 4K Blu-ray. It's going to be harder now because we're getting pretty much everything we've ever really wanted. We still haven't gotten Fight Club, but there's some big ones, but we're getting a lot. I saw Trick or Treat's coming to theaters next month. I've never seen it. Oh, Ben, Trick or Treat is absolutely a great movie for Halloween. I mean, it ties right into the holiday. It's a great anthology film. Arrow Video did a great 4K Blu-ray release of that. So definitely check that out. If you haven't seen it yet, even if you don't get to see it in theaters, try and grab if you want to get the Arrow 4K Blu-ray release. It's a great release. I mean, beautiful film as far as the visuals go. Just so much about the holiday, and I just like how it's an anthology film, but yet it all takes place in this one town. Everything kind of ties together. Good movie. What up? What's up, buddy? How you doing, Jose? Glad you could pop in here, man. Glad to see you. Great. I know a little bit late, kind of winding down the show, but I'm still glad you were able to pop in here at the very end. I guess we can talk a little bit about November before I get out of here. So right there, we were just talking about there's Hard Boiled 4K. So my problem with this one is, and I'm probably gonna end up grabbing it because it's hard boiled and it's a John Woo film. So how could I not? Is I just don't like the green base. I saw a lot of people saying that that color green, it doesn't scream hard boiled to me. But I know some people don't really care. The Breakfast Club on 4K Blu-ray. I'm on the fence if I'm going to grab this on day one or not, just because October is going to beat the shit out of my wallet. But the Breakfast Club is already available through the Criterion Collection. Sometimes their 4K upgrades aren't the biggest just because they already put out pretty quality Blu-rays. I don't actually own the Breakfast Club on Blu-ray. That is my dad's favorite film. I've seen it a lot, and it's not necessarily one I absolutely love when it comes to John Hughes, but it's probably due for a rewatch, and a 4K review would be pretty cool. Outland, starring Sean Connery. Great movie. The artwork doesn't scream the best to me, but some people are excited. Vampires on 4K Steelbook. The Naked Gun. This is getting another release. I already have that on 4K Blu-ray. The Howling. I know some people hate this 4K Steelbook. I just don't think it makes sense as far as The Howling goes. Let me just go back and check the chat because I haven't checked it out a little bit. Listening work, definitely would like to catch Trick or Treat in theaters. The Breakfast Club is definitely a must-have. I do not own it. Yeah, it's a classic. Damn, I came to party late. Damn notifications. Hey, it's all right. I know that at least this week it sent out the notification on the day of. I got the notification from my personal channel that this was going live in 30 minutes, 3 days after it actually went out. So, who knows? Now, here's one. This is a big week. Obviously, The Mask on 4K is one of my most anticipated of all time. Reanimator Standard Edition, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like we were talking at the beginning of the show, I haven't pre-ordered the standard or the steelbook yet, but I will be because it's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Here's another one I'll be definitely getting day one. House Party on 4K Blu-ray. Well, you should have a Barnes & Noble's 50% off sale that day, though. But that's also the same day the Luc Besson collection's coming. In theaters right now, Caught Stealing, getting a 4K Blu-ray release that day. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. I know people are excited about that. U571 we talked about. Snowden, that's another Oliver Stone movie coming to 4K Blu-ray. Wicked's new 4K Steelbook, obviously to promote the sequel coming out, or the part 2 rather. I'm just not a big fan of how could I say I'm not a big fan? I haven't seen Wicked yet. And I'm not really too excited to see it. And there's the standard edition of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Both the standard and the steelbook to me are fine. Just again, I'm not in love with the artwork regardless. When you get down here to November 18th, there's a Better Tomorrow trilogy. I know people are thrilled about that. Same thing about Red Planet. Oh, Paul's really coming to 4K Blu-ray. I did not know that. Huh, interesting. I might grab that then. I haven't seen that in probably since 2011, if I'm being honest. But excited. Yeah, YouTube lets me down, Jose. The artwork for one has been killed this week. We had hope, right? I just wanted the original movie poster. That's all I wanted. WB refuses to do it, though. And I know they can. We had all these theories about why WB couldn't do the original movie posters. But Arrow Video has this deal with New Line, which is owned by Warner Brothers. And look at the mask right there. Original movie poster. Why can't WB do it? Doesn't make sense. It's a WB property through Arrow Video. Somehow they have it. So that theory is like kaput. But keep on going. Pulp Fiction's getting a re-release of this 4K Steelbook. Nice 4K Steelbook. I preferred their standard edition with the slipcover, and that's the one I actually have. But if you want to grab this one, I believe that's being resold through Lionsgate. Never seen Howard's End on 4K. It sounds interesting. This week will be ruled by Eyes Wide Shut, November 25th. Obviously, getting one of Stanley Kubrick's masterpiece, his last masterpiece, actually. Dante's Peak got moved again to November. Will it actually come out? Who the hell knows? Sisters, directed by Brian De Palma. Gotta grab that because this is actually, that's not De Palma's. That's Sisters from 2006. I don't even know who directed that. Is that a remake? What the hell? Douglas Buck. I don't even know anything about this movie. I thought that was the De Palma one. Wow. Is that 11 Days, 11 Nights? It looks interesting based on that movie poster. Yeah, and then that's it. The Boys Next Door for November. And then December, obviously still pretty early on. We already talked about the Criterion stuff. And then there's TMNT down here coming out the same day as Pee Wee's Big Adventure. So, that's pretty much everything that is on the horizon for 4K Blu-ray releases and everything in the world of make Slumdog Millionaire too. That's interesting. What the hell would you even do with that? I'm curious. I'm glad you're doing good too, buddy. Hope everything is going well. But yeah, that's it for Let's Talk Physical Media this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I always enjoy it. I'm having actually a lot of fun doing these Let's Talk Physical Medias with you guys. Maybe we'll make going through the calendar kind of a tradition because I've been really enjoying these. I knew Paul was coming to see the 4K, but didn't know when. Thanks for showing it, ordering it after you're done. I didn't know either. We found it together, Mark, because I that's kind of one I didn't expect to be coming. Paul, I haven't seen it since it came out. I remember liking it, so that'll be that's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg working together again. Not directed by Edgar Wright, I believe. I just rewatched Shaun of the Dead last week, and I was wondering if I should get the Dolby Vision release because I just have the one that came in the triple pack with Hot Fuzz and everything, but it looked good enough. I didn't think I needed to see it. Not gonna lie, I want the immaculate 4K set. Hey, listen, I support it. Did you go over the Robert Redford movies? Oh yeah, you know what? Let's do a top 5 Robert Redford movies before we get out of here because I did want to talk about that. Stacy asked me about that earlier. Like she asked a question for. I was gonna do it with Dennis next week, but he passed away, and I thought no better time than now to talk a little bit of Robert Redford. Just off the top of my head, just no particular order, but Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, that's the one that put him on the map. There's an interview where he talks about like basically Paul Newman being so gracious to him. Before that, he was like on the Twilight Zone, which was like that was like his most famous thing, I think, before Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. And I see a lot of people sharing that today. The Twilight Zone really was just like Law and Order for like the 50s and 60s, right? Like everybody who was an actor like got kind of like their start in an episode of that, like William Shatner. Like think about Law and Order. Like look at how many actors and see if they were in an episode of Law and Order. It's incredible. So I think that's kind of. But Robert Redford did give a very memorable performance in a episode of The Twilight Zone. But I love him in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, one of the greatest westerns of all time. Real honest, I rewatched this actually a couple of months ago. I was going through a Robert Redford kick, so I don't know. It's weird, actually. Hopefully, I didn't kill him because I was watching a lot of his films. I was watching The Sting, also, which is another fantastic movie he did with Paul Newman. Just so many great performances in that as well. Very funny movie. Also, Inside Desi Clover was good. Natalie Wood, Robert Redford. That is a great movie. Throughout the 70s, I think still my favorite of his movies. I said it before, I'll say it again. 3 Days of the Condor. This is what I rewatched last night. Still a phenomenal film, a great espionage thriller, maybe the best of all time in my opinion, which is saying something because there's so many good ones. But that 4K Blu-ray is so good. A lot of it takes place in the rain. Out of Africa, Out of Africa, a Best Picture winner from the 1980s. It's just not one I go back to a lot. Doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray release. Maybe someday we will get Jeremiah Johnson. That's another one of his great. I don't know if I put that in my personal top 5, but definitely top 7 or 8. Jeremiah Johnson. We should get that on 4K Blu-ray at some point. I'm actually surprised we haven't gotten Jeremiah Johnson. And Decent Proposal and The Natural are my favorite Robert Redford movies. The Natural would be in my top 5, probably at like number 3. It's also one of the best baseball movies of all time. Kim Basinger, what's his name, is in that movie as the manager of the baseball team as well. The guy from The Thing. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? It's not Warren Beatty, but you know who I'm talking about. The diabetes guy. I don't want to say it that, but like that's what he did the commercials for that. But yeah, he's great in The Natural as well. Great story, The Natural. Also, great 4K Blu-ray. Like when the fireworks are going off at the end, after the light explodes and he's surrounding the bases. It looks phenomenal. Then another personal favorite of mine, I mentioned it also, Sleepers. Sleepers is number 2 behind 3 Days of the Condor now. Love that movie. Wilford Brimley. That's it. That's the name I was trying to think for. Wilford Brimley. He's great in The Natural as the manager of the team. Classic baseball movie. We don't want to he doesn't want him to like continue. He's just like, you're too old, and he used to be a pitcher, and then he got shot. It's a weird movie, actually. It's kind of weird how that story works out. He's also playing like a 16-year-old making the bat at the beginning of the movie, and it's like it's still Robert Redford in his like 30s or 40s. So I don't know what they were doing there, but hey, that's just something they used to do at the time, like to make people look younger. We didn't have the de-aging technology, and you didn't always want to recast. But it's such a good. Have you seen The Last Castle? I liked it. I actually haven't. And didn't The Last Castle just get a 4K Blu-ray release? But I haven't seen that one. But Robert Redford worked pretty much like he retired. His retirement film was supposed to be that heist movie he did a couple of years ago. I think it was called The Old Man or something like that. Like an older bank robber, based on a true story, by the way. So is all lost any is lost any good? I don't think I've ever seen All Is Lost, so I'm not too sure if that's good or not. Hopefully. I'm not sure though, but off the top of my head, as far as other Robert Redford movies go, the guy's worked forever. He's a quiz show. He directed a Best Picture nominee in 1994, like just Murderous Row. I never saw Sneakers, but they say it's good. Sneakers is one of that's my number 2 behind 3 Days of the Condor. I love Sneakers. I mean, it's not just him, but he's like the leader of this group of guys, this ragtag group of guys who something happens early in his life. Unfortunately, his buddy gets caught. Not him. He gets away with it, but it ruins his buddy's life, played by the great Ben Kingsley. And, he's a little bit upset with him, but at this point, Robert Redford, him and his group, his team, they break into banks, rob them, and tell them what's wrong with their security systems. Then, of course, they get wrapped up in this great noir kind of story. But great. It's a very funny movie. It's very much of a 1990s. I think James Horner did the score for it. It's such a good movie. I could highly recommend Sneakers. It's got a great Kuhn and Lorber 4K Blu-ray release as well. And then, what else did he do in the 1990s? He obviously directed some more films. He would pop up as an older man, very good older man. And this guy could act at all ages. That was the thing that was great about him. Just got okay. I'm sure. Hopefully you enjoy that, Mark. I think that was a great 4K Blu-ray release. Great's a tough one, but it was an upgrade over the previously released Blu-ray. That's for sure. Stuff in that movie stands out. Great late career Sidney Poitier performance in there as well. Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, just the stat cast. What's his name in that movie? The guy who plays Needle Nose yet Ned, Steven Tobolowsky. How's how you pronounce it? He has a little moment in that movie as well, and he's pretty damn funny in it. Just a great, great movie. I can watch Sneakers anytime. It's like lighthearted enough that you don't have to it's not a deep espionage thriller, even though it's clearly paying homage to the movies, very much like 3 Days of the Condor and very much how Winter Soldier is playing homage to that. It's like those are the kinds of, and we didn't even mention it yet. Probably his most famous movie, All the President's Men. That's one that needs a 4K Blu-ray release as well. Him and Dustin Hoffman. One of the best films of the 1970s. That's another, these two newspaper guys uncovering everything that happened with Nixon and Watergate and coming out like around the time of Watergate. Incredible. That's probably there you said for our parents' generation, I think. So there's Mozart's Ghost thinking what I was thinking. Yeah, I have the Blu-ray for that. I'm surprised that hasn't gotten a 4K Blu-ray release, because that is like you said, our parents' generation, a very beloved film. It's funny. I don't love that film as much as like maybe our parents do, but I really appreciate it. Great performances. It's just that we know everything there is to know about Watergate now, all these years later, that uncovering that mystery throughout the film, it's like a little bit less shocking, so you can really just appreciate the film, especially like modern day journalism. Actually, you should probably watch that to understand like really what the journalist's duty is, especially compared to modern times. So maybe it would hold up. I gotta go rewatch that. It's been a good amount of time, but All the President's Men is a classic. He was aiming to make a sequel to The Candidate. Oh, that's a great movie. Do you like Downhill Racer? Never saw Downhill Racer, Stacey, actually. But those are my favorite of Robert Redford and his career. You guys seem to bang off a few of your favorites as well. And like I said, he kind of had this like second, like late career resurgence with the MCU films, playing a little bit of a villain, showing that he still got that charm. He just felt like a regular guy. He never felt like even throughout the 80s, he just always felt like this regular, approachable. I've heard some stories about him, but we're not here to talk about that. But he just seemed like a very nice guy, cared about the industry. I know he had one of the most famous film festivals, so I'm throwing a blank on the name, but I know he's the guy who created that. So Robert Redford, R.I.P., 89 years old. What a life to live. What a career he left behind. just a body of work that, thanks to film, will stand the test of time. How about the film Redford did with Brad Pitt? Oh my God, the Tony Scott's film Spy Game. I just rewatched that too. The film itself, not the greatest, but it was watchable mainly because it was Robert Redford and Brad Pitt. Robert Redford is actually great in that movie. When I watched all of Tony Scott's movies earlier this year, that was one of the last ones I watched. Spy Game, yeah, 2001, I believe. It was okay. That's not going to make the top 5. No, thank you, Stacy, for showing up. I appreciate it. If you got an extra cocktail scene with all those different people at the Jamaica, who would you do that? I personally love Cocktail. It's a very cheesy 1980s movie, which is exactly why I love it. Tom Cruise vehicle. Him singing Addicted to Love is just absolutely ridiculous. But in the 80s, we just always had to have these movies where somebody had a job, but of course there's something crazy with cocaine or crack, some sort of crime spin on it. Look at three Men and a Baby. Did that need the cocaine plot built in? Probably not, but they threw it in anyway. What he did with Sundance Festival was amazing for independent. That's at the Sundance Film Festival, like El Mariachi. Yes, he's the one who created the Sundance Film Festival. Without him, we would not have that. And yeah, so many classic indie films came out of that. Like without El Mariachi, you don't have Robert Rodriguez in the career he had, which he made that. But if you ever look into El Mariachi and how that movie was made and the amount of money, like that's one of the greatest independent films, like Clerks, like where it's like somebody had a dream and saw it through. We lost Gene Hackman, Robert Redford this year. R.I.P. Two of the all-time greats. Both of them living full lives. It's just still extremely tragic to see them, gone. I mean, they live. At least it's not a tragedy. At least they got to fulfill their entire lives, and we'll have their bodies of work to stand the test of time. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Go take some NyQuil because it sounds like I'm starting to get sick, and I want to nip this thing in the butt. Coming up on the channel in the next few days, though, before we get to next Tuesday and Wednesday's live shows, because we do live shows every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, and every Wednesday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern time. But in between that, there will be some reviews for Kroll on 4K Steelbook from Sony, and I will have the Tron 4K Blu-ray reviews coming up as well in the next few days. Great stream. Thank you for showing up, buddy. I really appreciate it. Stevie Dan 1969. Thank you, Mozart's Ghost. Everybody, Stacy popping in here. Ben Rondo, Mark's Movie Menu. Everybody who contributed to the chat. Jose who popped in. Ian again. I really appreciate that, Ian. Thank you so much for popping in. Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews. And if you guys haven't subscribed to Frank, you are missing out badly because that is a great YouTube channel as well. Check out some of his videos that he's had come out recently, including the Jurassic World Rebirth 4K Blu-ray review, which I watched yesterday. But anyway, guys, you have a great night. Like, share, and subscribe as always, and I'll be seeing you around.